Ken, it's Wednesday.
Only means one thing in my world.
Right. And we're not on Hoth, but it feels like it.
That is for sure. Let's go.
Let's go.
I've been running scams on the street since I was 10. I've been running scams on the street since I was 10.
Hey, Mike, what do you see? A falcon that inflates for free. Hey, Ken, what's the drill? Blue milk sipping gives me a thrill. The inflatable falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray. Left, we're marching through. Cosplay helmets and a saber or two. Hey, Mike, what's the plan? To nerd out harder than anyone can. The inflatable falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray. So grab your gear and join the crew. Mike and Ken got a show for you. Laughs and stars and a galaxy far. The Falcon's ready, let's raise the bar. Hey! Hey, Mike, what do you see? A falcon that inflates for free. Hey, Ken, what's the drill? Blue milk sipping gives me a thrill. The inflatable falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray. Left, we're marching through. Cosplay helmets and a saber or two. Hey, Mike, what's the plan? To nerd out harder than anyone can. The inflatable falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray. So grab your gear and join the crew. Mike and Ken got a show for you. Laughs and stars in a galaxy.
Happy freezing cold day, Ken.
Yes, sir. I don't know what's happening. This is 2 weeks in a row. I think we started early.
Yes, I know. We're gonna have to.
What is
I
this?
don't know.
2026 coming to already?
Yeah, we might have to just we'll be at like 5:00 in the afternoon if we're not careful. I don't see that happening. But Ken, how's your day going or your week?
It's going all right. Doing my best to stay warm and upright.
Yeah,
Our sidewalks in the neighborhood are like ice rinks.
yeah.
You know.
And everyone's out of salt. So yeah, it's officially cold here. I think it was like negative 15 with wind chill today or something like that.
Yikes.
So
stay inside and keep your pets close.
Well, before we get started, Ken, where can our Star Wars people find you?
Well, when I'm not shoveling out cars and sidewalks, you can find me here. You can find me bouncy hunting across the galaxy with Todd. We just recently put out our first episode of 2026.
Nice.
Every once in a while, I get to sit around the Dejeric table with the guys from Bantha Milk Podcast, and then I've got my own little bitty show called The Rambling Star Wars Fan, and I got a couple things in the queue for that one.
Oh, nice.
You got a whole lot of stuff going on too.
Well, I have this show, every Wednesday. I forget what episode this is. We're in the 180s, I believe.
Yes.
And I have helping Zoe with Star Wars Geek Girl, though those kids are working like a lot, so they're not doing as much. Though I think this Sunday Zoe is going to the Ahsoka meetup at Batu West. So she'll be hopefully doing an episode on that. I have the 501st cast. We just recorded the February 5th episode.
Nice.
And that will also be our Star Wars podcast day, unless something happens and I can get some of the guys to do another one too. But we're trying to start small and not burn ourselves out before we get it up and running.
Nice.
But yeah, so, and all those chiming in now, thanks again for
That's Sue counting our episodes for us.
yeah. Here I forgot to turn the chat back on. 186. So this is it 186, I guess?
Yeah, not counting the extra episodes or
Yeah, that's good.
And we're not going by length of episodes either. So even the 4-hour episodes still counted as a single episode.
Yeah, I don't know what we were thinking back then. We should have chopped those suckers up and put them in.
Could have been 8 episodes.
Yeah, we would be in like the 400s by now. But yeah, what day did we decide on for the next reading of, or did we decide?
I thought it was mid-February.
Yeah, which is going to be here soon because we're almost at the end of January. This is our last episode of January, right?
Yeah, that's the rumor.
That's soon it'll be Groundhog Day, or I guess would it be a Lothcat Day in Star Wars instead
at
of
some point it would have to be. Yeah. And you know what today is, right?
No,
it's Lego Day.
Oh, is it Lego Day?
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful.
And Chocolate Cake Day, but I want to make sure you don't get the two things confused.
Yeah, you don't want to step on a chocolate cake any more than you want to step on a Lego, though. So they are kind of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, February 25th. There we go. We got it.
End of February.
And you sent me a picture of the book, which I think we have pre-ordered already. The new Shakespeare Mandalorian book,
yeah, and I think that's just the first season. I think they covered the first season.
Yeah, that would seem reasonable. I did put us in for a panel at did I ever send you that link?
No, but they recently opened it up, so I haven't gone on. I'll probably submit at least one for the Rambling Star Wars fan and another for Bounty Hunting Across the Galaxy.
Yeah, I submitted one for ours. I should write it down like exactly what I type in. I always, as soon as I submit it, like, crap, I should have wrote down what I put in. But yeah, I put in for a panel for us.
It's unfortunate that their setup is that you can only do one proposal per submission instead of like, here's a couple ideas.
Yeah. Well, I did put in there. This said included. I said we possibly have a Star Wars sing along at the end of the panel because I still think the Major Tom song from Skeleton Crew would be easy enough to make a video that because they have that video with the words on it, and we could just throw it up there and sing. Who knows? We'll see what happens with Fan Expo.
Well, crazier things have happened, that's for sure.
Yeah. So hopefully you put some in. But and then the Star Wars news we talked about last. Well, first off, did you troop at all?
No, not since we last got together.
Yeah,
we were fighting snowflakes and
that was nothing compared to who would have thought that would have seemed like nothing after this week. So yeah, I was teaching from this very spot this morning, so I just was having flashbacks of how much I hated teaching online. So that's I did troop. I didn't really work on anything. I was just trying to stay warm and keep my driveway somewhat reasonable.
Clear.
Yeah.
So speaking of costumes, so on the last episode of Bounty Hunting Across the Galaxy, Todd and I, hey, good to see you, Paula.
Paula, sorry.
Paula or Paul A.
Paul, I see. Well, it could be Paul A
Yeah.
or Paula, that which could
Yeah.
really, really
And we'll
change.
just say hello.
Hello, how are you?
So Todd
Welcome
and
back.
I did this thing on our last episode. So we made a list of 20 different Star Wars, for lack of better words, groupings of entertainment, from the original trilogy to Andor, the holiday special. And we rolled a die, and depending on what the dice roll was, we're going to build a costume for under less than $100.
Uh-oh.
Todd was lucky enough to roll Andor. He rolled a 17.
Yeah.
And I rolled a 5, which gave me the Star Wars Droids and Ewoks cartoon as the source of inspiration.
Kaibo. I hit Kaibo Ren or whatever.
Well,
That's your.
We're not spoiling it yet.
Oh, sorry. That's cool.
Yeah. So we're gonna, along the way between now and Halloween, we're gonna, post, the creative process. So figuring out which costume we're gonna make, figuring out how we're gonna make it, and even going so far as to potentially tally up, how much each of the bits cost for the costume,
Nice.
so that we have it ready for Halloween.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, Halloween's going to be cool this year because it's a Saturday.
Oh, so you won't have to work.
I won't have to work, and I think my wife and I are thinking of having a Halloween party for like family and friends.
Wow.
Before, and then have our haunted walk like normal.
Now you're not going to do this as a secret wedding, are you?
No. I've been married for a couple, 3 decades, over 3 decades. I think that would just be a present grab, get people to bring me stuff. I do like the Halloween wedding. That story is probably one of the best wedding stories I've ever heard.
Invited to a party and show up at a wedding.
Yeah, well, that's like the best. Yeah, that's the best for everybody. Didn't have to worry about weird seating. Have you ever been to a wedding where you're at the odd table? Like, you're looking at, like, it's the third cousin, and it's just like
or the friend from work.
Yeah, the friend from yeah.
So
yeah, I've been at a few weddings where I've been to, like, Missy and I are sitting there. We're like, oh yeah, we're at the table where they had no idea where to stick us.
Well, the other thing that I often think about, just because of the weird circles that I revolve in, I sometimes wonder at the table, like, who from this table is here because they don't get along with somebody else at a different table.
That's true too.
When you're sitting down with like cousin Tommy or Aunt Janet or whatever. And I do have an Aunt Janet. Hopefully she's not listening and feels that I called her out.
Well, when I used to teach one of my probability lessons, I would give the kids a list of names and who had to sit next to who and who couldn't sit next to who, and it had a certain amount of people at a certain amount of tables, and there was really only a couple solutions, and that was one of their, like, probability exercises before we got into. So the wedding one was always kind of fun. That's cool. Anthony, you will be very happy with the 501st cast coming up. You have to watch the video when it comes out on the 5th, because we took your bumper that you sent. So I think you'll be happy with it. It's just I can't say anymore. I don't want to ruin it for you, but
nice.
But Anthony was a big supporter. We're trying to grow that show too. It's not a live show though, so I'm trying to convince him to do a live one once in a while, but who knows? I think so. I think, you know what? Someone did Paula ask that last time, or was there another person that asked the Keanu Reeves?
I know that was a question that came up last week. I just don't know if it was Paula. Or
I don't think it was Paula, but yeah. But yeah, we had this discussion, but I like, my first answer was until recently was, I don't like famous people to play in Star Wars, but like Woody Harrelson and some other people kind of won me over in the sense that if it's a well-written script, it doesn't matter who plays them. So,
especially now, I mean, depending on the role they get. I mean, would you have ever imagined a Jimmy Smits in Star Wars, or even Joel Edgerton for that matter.
Yeah, yeah.
And they've played great roles. In fact, Joel was invited back for the Ben Kenobi show,
Yeah.
or the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, not the Ben Kenobi show.
Well, maybe if the Imperials were watching, they called it the Ben Kenobi, so it wouldn't tell it where he was. Because that's a whole nother plot point that I the people that beat up on Star Wars now, I'm always like, okay, but Luke was hidden with, they didn't change his last name. You know what I mean? Unless Skywalker was like Smith, here, let's hide him from his father, but we'll keep his same. He's not. He's only going to live. He's going to live in the same place that Anakin grew up, and we're going to keep his last name. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Who's gonna know?
Yeah, no
one's
one's
gonna know.
So I'm just joking with all that. Hey, it's then Paula should be excited about Star Wars podcast day coming up. If you can't remember all the Star Wars shows you're watching, that's awesome.
Yeah, and there's, from what I understand, I think the last note that I got from Daniel was there's 60 plus shows this year.
Yeah.
And what I'm thinking about doing, I haven't talked to Daniel about this yet. I'm wondering if we should do something different this year. So after Star Wars Podcast Day, if, I don't know, Thursday. So every Thursday for the next 52 weeks, we just put the little logo of a show and say, oh, this, or the link for that episode, so that we've got 52 weeks of links.
Yeah,
all of these shows, or 52 plus.
Well, I always think what would be nice is if somehow they could just get a giant hard drive and everyone would put their podcast episode in there, and we could all throw it up on our feeds in any way, shape, or form. Like cut it in half and say, listen to this half, and then go listen to the rest on their feed. Something like that. Yeah.
And on the other end of that, I think would be also interesting, and I don't know how to make this happen. So there's 62. We'll say random number 62, or even better, 66. There are 66 podcasts. I don't know if there are, but that's the number I'm using.
It's all right, Paula.
They all decide that they're going to subscribe to all the other shows. So everybody's subscriber number goes up by that many for 2026.
Yeah. Then we need 1,977 shows, and then
that'd be even closer to my dream number.
Right. Well, Anthony, there's never too many podcasts to listen to.
No.
The only bad part for me is I'm so used to listening to in the car that, like, I've been home all week, so I haven't got into my podcast listing routine. So I have to alleviate that somehow, because I just don't have anything hooked up to listen to them in the house.
And Paula, please don't be upset about asking the same question, because sometimes we tell the same story because we don't necessarily know who heard it when we mentioned it in episode 17 or whatever it was.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff about Ahsoka season 2 coming out, and Ahsoka season 2 stresses me out because I haven't finished Zoe's costume for Sabine yet, so I'm like fighting the clock. I'm like, crap, I got to get this done before season 2 is done. So but Zoe has I said earlier, the Ahsoka meetup. So I'm hoping that there'll be a lot of cool people there.
Well, I thought I heard that Ashley was going to be there.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So we shall see.
Yeah. The only way it could get cooler is if, Rosario and the young girl who played young Ahsoka.
Yeah.
In the World Between Worlds.
Well, Natalie, it says turning Natalie Portman into a monster, but if anyone can do it, Dave Filoni can. So we shall see. She the stars always come back to Star Wars. Like, a lot of them run away from their, it's same with Marvel. They all run away, and then they're like, oh, I really do like doing this. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm excited. I mean, we have Maul coming. Like, me and Ken weren't sure, but Mike, Yeah. Okay. Well, I can, let me see. I can look over on my, here I have 3 wigs up here. So there's orange, blue, brown, and purple. There's a white one. And then I forget what color Zoe has out with her. So, and then yeah, so there's all kinds of every hairstyle. I am just missing one. I'm missing season 4 of animated, which that's the helmet. I have the helmet up here. It just needs painted, and the live action one. And the live action one's all printed and just ready to paint. Let me see what we got over here.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me of young Ahsoka's name. Yeah, that actress has been in a bunch of really cool things.
Yeah.
Ariana.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind spoilers. I just get
So have you heard anything? I know we had talked about this right before the show started, that Maul Shadow Lord is coming out a lot sooner than we thought.
Yeah, yeah.
I was under the impression, and I think seems like you were under a similar impression, that it was coming out later in the year, only to find out recently it's coming out in April.
Yeah.
So like 2 or 3 months away, and it's 10 episodes each week. 2 episodes are going to be released. Have you heard anything at all about if those 2 first episodes are going to be put in the movie theater?
Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about that. I have not, Ken. Now you just give me one more thing to stress and look for, because nothing like me and Ken love going to King of Prussia movie theater and watching a Star Wars
premiere,
and we see the same people.
Yes. And I think let's make a pinky swear that if they do it this time, that we have to record at least 3 little mini interviews with some of those people.
Yes, we do.
And it could be just asking them each one question.
I just forget. I get so excited. I forget to take pictures, and I forget to do any of that.
The last time and the first time we trooped in 2026 together,
yeah,
I think we were in 7 pictures together.
Yeah.
And we were in costume for like 4 hours.
Yeah. Here we go. Here's a good question. So, what a hairstyle? The white hairstyle. I am not. The purple and white. It's mostly white. I want to say that's season 3, but I think that's season 3 or season 4. Here, okay, yeah, and that's Anthony has a good thing, but it says, Justin, what's the best Star Wars show of all time?
The answer is yes.
Yes,
all of them.
Well, and it's not. Well, I mean, I guess you could call it a cop out. Like if you had to, yeah, in my opinion, I should say. But if you had to, like, if someone said you have to pick one, it's hard not to say The Mandalorian season 1, because that's kind of what kicked off a lot. And when you say TV show,
okay,
because really it's the first, right? That's the first one, if you don't count the cartoons and the Ewok movies.
Well, the first TV show, in full truth, is the holiday special.
Well, that's true. That's true.
I mean, if we're really, really, really being specific,
okay. How about the first show made by Lucasfilm? Because the holiday special was not made by Lucasfilm. It was given permission to what, CBS, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, I would say The Mandalorian, but then after watching like the other ones, it's like picking your favorite kid.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I think the best one is the one you're watching at that time, because that's the one, for whatever reason, the stars have aligned and have said, this is the one I'm going to watch right now.
Yeah.
So I haven't watched all of the episodes of it, but I've watched a couple of the Young Jedi Adventure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
In full transparency, I don't think that they were made for a 50-plus-year-old dude or a 50-plus-year-old anybody. I think they're made for a younger audience, and they're brilliant.
Yeah, yeah.
They're colorful, they're playful, they're filled with lessons. They've got great visuals. I mean, the animation style is wonderful to look at, especially when you compare it to some of the other types of animation that's out there. But yeah, whatever show you're watching at that time is the best Star Wars show of that time.
Yeah. Well, and what's nice, especially now, there's such a variety that there's bound to be people that don't like certain ones, but there's so many that it's easier to find something you like than something you don't like.
Yeah, and I don't think you have to watch all of it to enjoy it. However, I would ask someone who doesn't watch something, why not?
Right.
Like, why are you cheating yourself, my friend? Why are you preventing yourself from seeing something you've never seen before, hearing something that you've never heard before? So if you think about shows like Rebels, the soundtrack by the Kiners is absolutely wonderful. Or you watch the Mandalorian and you throw in the music from Ludwig Göransson or whatever. So there's just so much to enjoy. Plus the stories, plus the costumes, plus the silliness, because there's been some where like, wait a minute, is that really the Ark of the Covenant from Indiana Jones that I see on screen? Like, what is going on?
Well, right, or like think of the Battle of the Mudhorn. You know, like he had to fight a mudhorn with a knife. You know,
Yeah, a vibrating butter knife. It was barely. When I first saw it, it looked like a bagel, like a cream cheese spreader.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to read this. Okay, yeah, I'm curious with the Anakin and Padme stuff, because that's one of those things that I am sure Dave will figure it out. Like those flashbacks and the world between worlds in the Ahsoka stuff were so cool.
They were so cool, and I don't think they were ever fully and accurately described, so they were left up to the audience to figure out the quote unquote realness of them.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if they're ever going to do, to Just Chillin's last question, do we think there's ever going to be a tetralogy? I don't know if they'll ever put together deliberately 4 movies in a row. Especially now with all of the stuff that's coming out. It's literally and figuratively one ginormous
Well, there is one kind of tetralogy. Well, there's 2. There's if you could put Rogue One as episode 0, or you could put Rogue One as episode 3.5. So it makes you could have 2 with that linchpin of Rogue One.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting way to look at it.
Okay, let me see. Leaks and rumors. Yeah, I know leaks and rumors will happen. I only know of one person who doesn't leak or tell anything when they know, and it's Zoe. I think
Dave Filoni's also pretty good about not letting.
Yeah. But I mean, of people I know, actual people I know that I speak with, like Zoe had pictures on her phone of Ahsoka the White for well over a year and never told me. So that's hurtful and makes
Should you have told anyone that she had that?
Oh, they've told them now. You know what I mean? Like, I saw pictures of the Mandos from that giant turtle fight thing. I saw that armor almost a year ahead. Some of the, I got a walkthrough of all that. So. I don't know if Luke was a homeless bum. He was a hermit.
Yeah, he had a home. It wasn't his home. Yeah, he was on a pilgrimage. He was on self-inflicted or self-imposed exile.
Yeah, which I still think leads back from the cave from Empire Strikes Back. I'll go to my grave with that one. He set his path at a young man, and it was hard to turn back.
So we're in an interesting spot. So it's the beginning of January 2026. we still have 11 months of this year ahead of us. Plus, we have all of last year behind us. Of 2025, what do you think was your favorite surprise out of all of the Star Wars stuff that you either did personally or that you witnessed, movie, show, whatever?
Now I got to think. Well, we had the end of Skeleton Crew,
Mhm.
right? We had all of Andor season 2.
Yep.
I'm just trying to think of what we had. Celebration Japan, which I didn't go. You and I didn't have any panels this year.
No. Well, we did have one thing together, even though we weren't physically in the same place.
What was that?
Star Wars took over Fortnite.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
For me, that while we're talking out loud, that to me was the biggest. I was surprised I enjoyed it as much as I did.
Yes. You know what? I as much as I've enjoyed the shows, I would say if you had to look at hours and stuff, it would have to be the Star Wars Fortnite. Like I just like seeing that Mandalorian run
Yes.
around, even if I'm getting shot by Doja Cat and all these other famous Kim Kardashian and stuff. I still like that.
I still play that skin. Like
Yeah.
I have dozens of other ones, and
Yep.
I still use I use a Mandalorian skin. But what I'll do is I've played this armor setup for 3 weeks. I'm going to change it up a little. It's still a Mando though.
Star Wars Theory. Wait a minute, let me see. Yes, is it Star Wars Theory or Star Wars Explained? What's the couple? Star Wars
The
Explained.
couple is Star Wars Explained. Star Wars Theory is the individual who also now sells lightsabers as a business.
Oh yeah. And run into some other issues, I think. Too.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Paula has a good point. I think the plus side to spoilers and non-spoilers is like the volume. I still can't imagine if Grogu was spoiled for us, how that would have hurt the first episode of Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Like certain things I don't like. When I watched Andor, I know everyone's going to die at the end. You know what I mean? Like that's but certain things.
Well, let's think about this though. They didn't. That's the biggest surprise of Andor.
Well, that's true. But we know they're going to die. A lot of them are going to die in Rogue One. Like
yeah,
it wasn't. There was a lot of surprises in Andor, but nothing at the point of Baby Yoda, or nothing in Kenobi, like when they fought Vader, when he fought Vader and stuff, or Book of Boba Fett, what they did with the Sand People and stuff like that. Like there were some really good surprises in that. The lightsaber battles in the Acolyte, those are things that I'm glad I didn't get wind of, before they came out.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
And let's pretend. Let's go back in time to that first season of Mando, and imagine what it could have been like if Grogu did get leaked ahead of time. Not even just Grogu, because we didn't find out Grogu's name until the second season.
Right.
But there would have been, I'm going to guess, this is just a hunch. I don't have anything accurate to base this on, just a hunch. There would have been a bunch of people that, a Baby Yoda, that's stupid.
Yep.
How is it possible that you can have, another Yoda when there's only one Yoda? We've never seen another one except Yaddle and all these kind of things. So you would have had people poo-pooing it. Then you would have had a whole bunch of people getting excited about it, where I think just the way that it was done was like a brilliant surprise.
Yeah.
That the general fan never saw coming, and it was glorious. I think of all the things that united fandom, like that surprise of Baby Yoda was great.
Yeah. Workbench, Anthony. We are both lazy. No, it's just we're both cold. Is and my workbench just getting the second episode out of the 500 first cast was like a big relief for me, because we had to go through and get all the permissions from the old show, and we finally got all that worked out. But I think we will have some stuff. Like my workbench is bursting because I just need warm weather. Like my stuff that needs primered is lining up. Like 000's new arms were just primered on those few warm days.
Well, speaking of workbench, Anthony, I'm not sure if you heard this, but for the other show that I'm involved in, Bounty Hunting Across the Galaxy, Todd and I are going to be creating each a unique costume, or a random costume. He managed to pick Andor, so he has to build a costume for less than $100 based on Andor, any parts of Andor. And I was lucky enough to pick the Star Wars Droids and Ewoks cartoon from the 1980s. So we're going to be documenting our work on those costumes. So you can expect to see and hear some workbench stuff about those two costumes between now and Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and that's what someone said something in the passing about Star Wars theory, and we're not here to bash anyone's podcast, but there's been podcasts in the past that just have not aligned with Ken and I's. It has nothing to do with their I like podcasts that disagree with me in Star Wars stuff, but in real life there's certain things I just can't I can't abide by when it comes to behavior. So it's nothing. We're just a little tiny thing, but yeah, Ken, that sounds like an awesome build. Like that to me seems like for you have a lot of things to pick from.
Oh goodness, yeah, and it's really funny. I didn't want to say this at the time, but when you threw out Kybo Ren, that is legitimately the first costume I thought of.
Oh, nice.
And I'll give you two reasons why. Number one, it's just a fun play on Kylo Ren. There's that aspect of it. And two, I'm a fat guy, and Kylo Ren is a fat guy, so it would be an easier character for me to create a costume for, because I got a lot of fat guy clothes.
Kybo, yeah, that should be fun.
I just had to figure out how to get he's got like a triangular beard and this really long, thin mustache.
Yeah.
Like an evil villain from the 30s.
Yeah. Now, Paula talked about her own character. There is a group, I think we've talked about it, there is a Sabak group. Have you ever heard about that, Ken?
Yeah, there's a couple of them.
But it's a costuming Sabak group. Like you come up with a character of a Sabak player and they play that.
Kylo Ren looks ugly, or Kybo Ren? Yeah, he was Kybo Ren from the Droids cartoon. He was very similar in build to Maliki, the Rancor Keeper. I mean, he's a really round guy.
Well, yeah. Justin, I don't know the codes on the Arduino, but usually got to figure out what's the high and low presets are on it. But I haven't done a temperature sensor on a Arduino in like forever. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, Ken. Are you guys going to have like the picture with like of who you inspired?
Yeah, that'll be part of the adventure.
That should be a live show. That sounds like a live show. That's it. We might have to bump a Wednesday spot for you guys.
Well, it's gonna be all throughout the year. So, and that's one of the cool things about the bounty hunting show is that we put out live.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the Rambling Star Wars Fan is the only one that I do that's recorded, because I have to. Lately, I've been putting so much into the production part of it that a 30-minute episode takes me 3 weeks to record, 4 weeks to record.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I don't think we're getting our chats from Facebook. I know we're not getting any chats from TikTok, but I'm just trying to. Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'm just looking forward to warm weather. I just want that, and Sean is moved up to his new digs. So I was messaging him yesterday, and he said we have to come up and visit his new shop and new job. So that seems like a good warm weather trip.
Yeah.
So,
and that actually, gets me to that next follow-up question. We talked about, the surprise from 2025. What are you really, 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 really looking forward to in 2026, Star Wars related?
oh, the Mando movie, I think.
Okay.
And not even the movie as much as just being able to go to a Star Wars movie. Like now that you said it out loud, that is the now that you said about the Darth Maul thing, I'm like, man, I really hope there is one, because I just want to go sit and watch a Star Wars movie with Star Wars people.
And something that I haven't done, because I wasn't in the costuming clubs at that time officially, is I'm hoping that, especially for Mandalorian and Grogu, that they have several viewings of the movie.
Oh
where
yeah,
they have, it's accompanied by troops.
yeah. I wouldn't be
Costumed
surprised.
characters.
Like I know Penn Cinema did. They let us see it the day before, and then we trooped it the 2 or 3 days after, which was really cool. Paula, there is a costuming group similar to the 501st that is based around Sabak, and you can buy really nice Sabak cards, and they have all kinds. I bought Zoe a set of Sabak cards, and I guess some of the coins and all that kind of stuff. And
there's even I don't remember which prop company, but they put out a few videos on the different styles of Sabak.
Yeah. Well, I downloaded a bunch of, because we played it here. I think every time we had an armor party, it wound up turning into just a Sabak party. And I am excited about the Maul Shadow Lord thing. Darth Maul, more Maul is always good.
Which is really, really funny, because if you think back to Maul as a character, he wasn't in it a lot.
No, right. Well, similar to Vader in the first one.
Yeah.
Like Vader was, screen time was very short in New Hope, which is good. That's how a villain should be, because then if you that's where people complained about Grievous in the Clone Wars. He became like the twirling mustache guy that always failed, so your villains can't always fail, Oh, Justin wants what if movies. They did talk about the what if series for Star Wars, and I think that got shelved.
Well, they had the what if comics.
Yeah.
Star Wars, was it Star Wars Galaxies?
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. I mean, I like that the universe is spreading out. Like I'm happy when we see new, like this Starfighter with the Barbie guy. Like I think that's going to be I think that's going to be a good movie that we're all surprised by.
And that's next year, right?
That's next year. That's celebration time year.
Okay.
That's what we're like a couple months away from when you can book your hotel. Like I think it's like 360 days out. I think you can book your hotel.
Okay. For the mall stuff, I'm excited that they're keeping the Clone Wars style animation. It's not exact,
Right,
because it's gotten even better over the years, but they're, generically speaking, they're still keeping that hyper marionetted kind of animation style. And it just seems like it's gotten more and more gorgeous as you watch that trailer, and there are some shots where you just freeze frame it.
right. Well, and
it's gorgeous to look at.
I wonder if they're using the same mocap that they used for the season 7. Remember?
Well, I think they are, and I also think that they're going even deeper into the art. And here's what I mean. I think it was either StarWars.com, or it might have been StarWars.com, where I read this article where they were talking about some of the backgrounds in Shadow Lord are actually matte paintings.
Oh, nice. So they're going old school.
Yeah, old school combined with new school, which is, one of the things that George really pushed. He pushed the boundaries on, using old techniques in a new way, or
Yeah.
old techniques with new tools and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I would absolutely positively love to see at least a couple episodes on the ginormous big screen. As big as my TV screen is in my living room, it still doesn't beat a movie theater screen.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who ran that last time. Justin, I liked all the Mandalorians. I don't think it got worse. Like that ending with him sitting in his little house is like so 1960s and Western ending that, and the pirates and I don't know.
Well, and to me, it wasn't an ending. It was just like, okay, this is what we don't know what's going to happen next.
Right.
The field of view is wide open from here.
My only complaint is they blew up the Razor Crest and his rifle the same week I got him shipped to my house. It was like, oh, look, I got the Razor Crest in the mail. Oh, it got blown up, So, but he gets our new Razor Crest back in the movie. So that's,
Yeah, or so we've been told.
Well, yeah. So we're led to believe because they're like, oh, it's a new paint job. I wouldn't be surprised if that's like a flashback of why he,
Yeah, something like he's dreaming of driving the Razor Crest. Like, oh,
yeah,
wakes up like, where am I?
Or he has to get a car seat because they don't let him, But I don't know. I don't think they progressively got worse. I think just like everything, if you eat steak every day, for people that eat steak, eventually you don't think it's steak anymore. I think we sometimes have to remember, just think back of however long the Mandalorians, just go back a month before the Mandalorian came out. And if someone would have said, look, we're going to give you this many seasons and all this, and everyone would have been nuts for it. And now it's just like the Marvel movies. If you watch a Marvel movie, they're really good, but everyone's just sick of them because they forget what it was like before you had them. And Mandalorians, I liked season 2 when it had all that stuff come out, and the third season with like the pirates, which kind of led it a little bit into Skeleton Crew, and I don't know. I like going back to Mandalore and seeing like all that destruction and that big battle and the death of was it Pre Vizsla? No,
Paz Vizsla.
Paz Vizsla. Okay. Yeah, I was going through all my old trooper cards. I've been organizing all my stuff. So next time, Ken, if you want to, when you come over and just look at them in a book, and I saw someone that had Pre Vizsla. I had a Pre Vizsla cards. That's what.
Pre Vizsla was from
Clone Wars,
and Rebels.
Yeah. What I'm saying, like that's we sometimes we get caught up in forgetting. Me and Ken lived through the dark times when you had to go to the back of the toy store if you could luckily find an old Star Wars comic book or cartoon or coloring book somewhere. So, and if Mandalorian, season 1, it was, and I think I've watched that more than any other seasons. But I think it was just because it was so new. Like I just remember when everyone went nuts because he showed his blaster. Remember Jon Favreau just put a picture of that blaster. People went
and not even the blaster, the rifle.
Yeah, the rifle. They just showed a picture of the rifle.
Yeah, the rifle from the 10-minute cartoon that Nelvana created in 1977.
Right, from the holiday special. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, just keep. Maybe I'm an idiot, but just keep that like joy of just loving Star Wars and don't let other people tell you how bad something is. If you don't like it, that's fine.
The other thing that I find really exciting is that with as much Star Wars as we have now, they've done, I think, a wonderful job of creating the tendrils to connect the bits together. So, for instance, that rifle that you talked about is a fantastic example of it. Mando came out in current times, and I say current times, within the last 15 years.
Right.
And that rifle linked way back to 1978 to a TV show.
Yep.
And you've got characters like Ahsoka who live action, which I can honestly say never imagined that they would do,
Right.
that's connected to Rebels and Clone Wars. And Ahsoka is a character that nobody ever anticipated having because, wait a minute, you're telling me that Anakin Skywalker had a power? No, he didn't.
Right.
And George said, oh, yes, he did.
Right.
And
Well,
so-
I remember trooping with people when the Clone Wars first came out, and I would say besides Zoe and myself, everyone hated Ahsoka. Everyone. Like they just thought it was dumb, you know. And now you say that and they're like, "Oh, that's not, I mean there's clothing lines and you know, all kinds of stuff." So, you know, if you fall into that crowd of there's always someone that's going to like and dislike something. I'd rather be in the crowd of people that like stuff. And like the Mandalorian, like you were saying, it touched back to that. Think of just we were saying earlier, Blurgs went back to
the Ewok movies.
Ewok movies. And I think season 1 did a really good job of putting a lot of hooks in it without, like, you didn't get IG 88.
Oh yeah, 88.
You got IG 11.
Yeah.
You didn't get Bosk, but you got Trandoshans. You know what I mean? So you didn't get Boba Fett, but you got the Mando. You know, and
then later you got Mandos, multiple, plural.
Yeah. Well, and you got a good lore of Mandalorians, which is funny because the lore fit good with the Mando Mercs costuming club.
Yes.
You know, like the inclusivity and
inclusivity and diversity. And here's what I mean by that. So the Mando Mercs Costuming Club, it's worldwide, and their groups are set up like clans. There's a clan in New Jersey, there's a clan in Pennsylvania and stuff. And on the TV show, very similar. You've got the Mandos that were on Mandalore. Then you've got the Mandos that were with the Armorer. Even though they're Mandalorians, they didn't have all of the same beliefs and all of the same history, just like Book of Boba Fett did just like the Mercs, and just like Book of Boba Fett did in terms of expanding the lore around the Tusken Raiders,
right,
which we saw in the 1977 New Hope.
Right. And you ask about I thought the Boba Fett show was awesome. Now, we started out watching Boba Fett. It was right at the end of COVID. We rented a movie theater. And we got a bunch of friends, and we watched the Book of Boba Fett, the first one, in a movie theater. They let us just project our own Disney Plus onto their screen. I know some people didn't like the Book of Boba Fett, but and it goes with the reason why I liked what Luke did is I like when people change and grow, and Boba Fett changed. You know, he's older. He's been shot and beat up his entire life, so he's not going to want to run around and shoot things.
Stuck in the stomach of a Sarlacc.
Right. But my favorite scene, probably one of my top scenes in Star Wars, is when he takes out the biker gang. Like, that is still, like, you see that biker gang, you know, and you just see the slave one coming up behind it, and he just lights them all up and just keeps on going. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's, you know, and Boba Fett in season 2 of Mandalorian? Season 2. Yeah, like when they were fighting the dragon and stuff. Like I don't, it's just a good mix of characters all around. I wish we would have got another season of Book of Boba Fett. I mean,
nothing says we can't.
Nothing says we can't. I'm never going to, you know,
and we don't know what they're plotting and planning.
Yeah.
And I think I hope they continue down this path of plotting and planning without necessarily feeling obligated to announce all the plotting and planning that they're doing. You know, like, for instance, I'll use that new Star Wars speeder racing game as an example.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were working on it, and all of a sudden, boop, out comes a trailer.
Yep. And then we have the Slender Spartan, which I don't think I've ever seen on the show before. Ming-Na Wen was good. I've said on this show before, I still would just love if they said every Tuesday we're releasing a Star Wars show. And 1 week it could be Mando, and 1 week, I don't care. Just give me a random show here and there. You know, I'm fine with that. I mean, it'll swing now. Hopefully we'll get through a whole bunch of movies, and then we'll, you know, because I do want to go to the movies and see some Star Wars. Like, I mean, what have we seen in the movie theater, Ken? We saw together. We saw
Ahsoka. We
Skeleton
saw
Crew,
Skeleton Crew. What else?
and I saw Ahsoka. Yeah, were you with me when we saw Ahsoka?
Yeah, I
No.
thought so.
Because Zoe was dressed as Sabine.
No. What was the other one that we saw then? Acolyte.
Acolyte. That's what it was.
That's what it
Okay.
was. I knew it was an A. It was an
Yeah.
A something.
Yeah, because she was dressed as Sabine.
Yeah.
Right, Anthony. Anthony has our motto right there. And that's that's what isn't that what Rose Tico said? For what we love, not what we hate. Something like that. To quote Rose Tico. So yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of like I'm curious and happy to see, Let's see.
Hey, it's our Shakespeare friend.
Oh, nice.
Good to see you, Tim.
Yeah.
Well, I think with many of the things that we're getting, they're not done.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine that after the Book of Boba Fett show that Boba Fett as a character is over. I think the biggest challenge right now in Star Wars is for them to decide on what's going to get made, because there are so many great makers,
Right.
and B, so much possible materials. I mean, let's think about even just the Mandalorian series by itself. We had Bryce Dallas Howard as a director.
Right.
We had Rick Famuyiwa as a director. Who is the lady that worked on the Obi-Wan Kenobi show? Deborah Chow?
Yeah, Deborah Chow. Yep.
So those folks were involved in just that show by itself. And any one of them, I think, would be fantastic makers for a movie or a whole nother show.
Right.
Not to mention the folks who have been involved in the music. You had Michael Giacchino and Kiner and Lou Gorison and all of this sort of stuff. So I think they're really at this tough spot now, trying to figure out what's going to get their attention, what's going to get the space to be made.
Right. Well, and all franchises have the same problem: is if they make too little, people complain, and if they make too much, people complain. So they have to find that sweet spot where people, because there for a while I felt like we were getting tons of Star Wars, and all I saw was complaints.
Yeah.
But
the other challenge too, now that we're talking out loud about this, that Star Wars has in front of it that other series don't. Star Wars from the beginning has done a great job of continuing the story while also going backwards and filling out the story and filling in the stuff in between.
Yeah.
So they've been able to grow in many directions where most things are, here's a starting point and we're going to keep going. Very rarely do they spend the time going back and doing prequels or spend time filling in the gaps from what exists.
Right.
I mean, let's take the Lethal Weapon movies with Mel Gibson and stuff. They started with one and they just kept going forward.
Yeah, they're not going to have Lethal Weapon the high school years.
Yeah, exactly.
That Danny Glover's character say, "I'm too young for this." That's
exactly. No, but they're talking about going back with James Mangold to the beginning of the Jedi Order, so they're going to go that far back in Star Wars history.
Well, and I think that's what George Lucas's originally was. It was not really science fiction, and it wasn't really a Western. It was just kind of like it was almost mythical and religious in a way. Yeah. It just told a story, and like here's where any good King Arthur or anything like that. So I think that was one of the good things. But it says, what's the best Star Wars movies? I could do a whole show on why at one point in my life, pretty much every Star Wars movie was one of my favorites at a certain point in time. Like New Hope surprised me as a kid. I was old enough and lucky enough to see it in the theaters. And I've always said this. I wish someone would have told me before I went in how much it was going to change my life, because I couldn't see things the same after I came out. But then I also think of Empire Strikes Back was the first Star Wars movie that I was waiting to see. You know, the Force Awakens was the first one that I saw with my girls, my daughters. Phantom Menace was the first one I saw in the theater with my wife. You know, Phantom Menace was when you used to have it on iTunes, I think, or something, movies on iTunes, if I remember correctly. Like I would buy them and then they would be on iTunes. At one point in time, I had watched Phantom Menace more than all the other movies combined. Because I just that's such a watchable
Because Jar
movie.
Jar's the best.
Yeah, well, it made something inside of me remember being a kid and the excitement. Even I watched that pod race hundreds of times. I'm still on the edge of my seat when he's going around the corner, you know. So, and if the movie does that for you, it's great. I mean, all the, you know, the Revenge of the Sith, when all those clones, and then when the Clone Wars came out and I rewatched Revenge of the Sith, I was like, man, this movie's even better, you know. So,
And like I was saying earlier, the makers have done such a great job of connecting those little bits, even in the Mandalorian, where they talk back when Gina Carano's character was a you know, in her previous life, you know, in the show. It's just
yeah.
just incredible that they put in that kind of detail, and that there is so much story that those connections can be made.
And that's Todd is that's like that is the Empire Strikes Back is the quintessential. That's always the answer for most people. But again, I mean, I remember that Hoth battle. First time you saw a Hoth battle as a kid, that was pretty cool.
Well, see, for the folks asking about what is the best, I want them to describe what the best means.
That's true.
Because I think a case could be made for why every single Star Wars movie, to your point earlier, is the best. I mean, let's think about it. We would not have had The Rise of Skywalker if A New Hope failed.
Right.
And in fact, there's a lot of movies today that would not exist if it wasn't for A New Hope. You know, James Cameron was inspired by Star Wars.
Yeah.
And we're getting like the third, fourth, fifth Avatar movie because of the inspiration that he got from Star Wars.
Well, and like Phantom Menace, when it came out, I loved it. I went back, for all you youngins, you had to buy your tickets and you had to go pick them up at the box office. And then you had to line up early, even if you bought your tickets a month ahead, because you still had to pick your seat. So even if you had tickets for that day, if you got there late, you might be sitting like front row, nosebleed, and your girlfriend has to sit at the other end of the theater. But people were hating on Phantom Menace. And then when we went to Celebration Chicago, whatever that sports arena is next to the convention center, we went there for the Phantom Menace panel. It was packed with cheering people for everything about the Phantom Menace. You know, so with time, I think people appreciate it. And I also think, you know, if you want to make a podcast and get a lot of clicks, man, just start saying negative stuff and you'll get a lot of views.
I was hoping that would work. I actually did an episode.
I saw that with the unnecessary.
Andor season 2 was unnecessary.
Did you get more listens on that one?
No, I didn't.
Oh man, you're not negative enough.
That's
you should have said it ruined your childhood or something like that.
I spoiled myself at the very beginning and said it was kind of tongue in cheek from the get go. So I don't think
you weren't.
I'm not good at creating clickbait, because that's what I was hoping to get. I was hoping to get people to listen to this because, you know, it said Andor season 2 is unnecessary.
Well,
but it didn't work.
I've said this before. The animated Clone Wars was the first Star Wars movie that I went multiple times to see, because Zoe wanted to see it, and I loved that movie. like, because when I was growing up, if I would have asked to go see Star Wars a second time, I think my grandfather would have just laughed his head off, because you didn't go to something. You're like, what? you you know,
You've already seen it. Why do you
you've
got to
already
see it?
seen it. What do you got to see it again for? We got go spend $1.50 somewhere else, or whatever. I think it was like $1.50 at the theater we saw it at. You couldn't sit in the middle rows at the one theater because the ceiling was collapsing. So
If I had a time machine, I think I would go back in time and tell myself, this is going to be a big deal.
yeah. Oh
Like,
yeah.
You
No, I
may
mean,
not, you may
it
not
made-
realize this, but you're gonna be talking to this friend of yours in Pennsylvania
Pennsylvania.
every Wednesday night for years.
I just think of like before Star Wars, I had, my Mego action figures, and I had the big GI Joes that my neighbor had given me, and I had Micronauts. I felt like when I saw Star Wars, all those toys were like gray looking to me. You know what I mean? Not because I didn't wash them. They were it wasn't as fun. Like I needed Star Wars toys, and they weren't available at the time. But the Micronauts were friends with a lot of Star Wars characters, I will say. But I mean, that's why me and Ken do it. I mean, we do it because we're friends, but we became friends because of Star Wars. I would have never met Ken if it wasn't for a Mandalorian Mercs armor party that I wasn't even invited to. I was just Zoe's driver.
Yeah, that was before Uber existed.
Yes, and my kid couldn't drive, so that's how trooping was when the kids were little too. I was just known as the guy who brought the Jawas. So, but
So I'm not gonna hold you to this, but I am gonna ask you to make a prediction.
okay.
It's a yes or no prediction. Do you think, without having seen any of the Darth Maul show, do you think it's going to be built to have more than one season?
I'm going to say yes and no. It's going to lead into another animated
Okay.
series that he is not the star of.
Okay. It's a very well placed non-committal answer.
No, I mean, because if it has to be a Maul series 2,
Okay.
then I will say no.
Okay.
I'm going to guess no. I could be wrong, but I think Maul seems like one of those characters you want to use sparingly. Same with Vader. You know what I mean? You don't want Vader just running around, because like Maul's gonna we know what happens to him, and I think
we know what happens to him, sort of.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I think you can only go so far with his character, but if you can build, just like they did with Ahsoka, like we knew what happened with Anakin in the Clone Wars, but really what we got out of the Clone Wars was clones and Ahsoka,
Yeah.
And where the Darth Maul, I picture they'll like we might get something with the Syndicate. It might go that underworld route,
Okay.
But I would say I'm not, I could be, I have no clue whatsoever. There is so much nerd stuff coming out right now that my brain hurts. Like, I can't believe I'm excited about the He-Man movie coming out, which looks so good, So, and we have, all that stuff. Episodes, we could. I mean, it could be that could also be, that could fall under Visions too, because we can't forget Visions. Like, Visions is that's a good what if alternative stuff.
I would love to have an animated show, set in the original trilogy.
I would love to have like a weekly drama show, not quite as deep a drama as Andor, but just like any kind of show just set in the original trilogy time. Like, it wouldn't even have to be like the big picture thing. It could just be like moisture farmers and their daily life. Like it could be Little House on the Prairie, but for Star Wars. You
Well,
know?
considering what you've said about pirates and
Yeah.
underworld, like the crime syndicates. I mean, the Hutts were around in the original trilogy time. Smugglers were a kind of a big thing then. So I think there's lots of room. And Andor proved it. I think that there's lots of opportunity for non-force using stories that can exist by themselves with minor yet strong connections to the greater story. I mean, even if you think of Skeleton Crew,
Yeah.
the only character in Skeleton Crew that really connected anything, it was the Vane, the pirate character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Deliberately specifically, he's the only one that connected that whole show to the rest of it, except when they did mention the Emperor or whatever.
Right.
And it was still fantastic.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I would love to see. I would love to see, not that it doesn't affect the universe, but it's not. It does. It kind of doesn't. Like it's just like a story within in that world.
Yeah.
And Justin asked if we knew how to weld. I don't know. I mean, I know you need welding stuff, but I don't know if you're welding armor. I don't know how to help you on that one. Some Mandos do weld metal armor. And it looks extremely painful to wear.
Yeah, I've got to say, no, I do not, unfortunately.
Yeah. But
I don't even see well, let alone be able to weld.
well, if you weld incorrectly with the wrong equipment, you'll see even worse.
Yeah, that's true.
I do know that much.
Yeah.
That if you don't wear the right equipment welding, you're not going to have your vision for very long. I just remember the welders from Alien. Remember it had the little screen built on it, which seems so like, why wouldn't you do that as a welder? Like, why are we wearing these stupid goggles? Just put a screen on the welder. That just seemed like that was one of the few things I remembered from that movie when I first saw it. I was like, I went home and told my grandfather about this, and he was like looking at me like, what? I was like, yeah, they had a welder and it was built on. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, sure, kid.
Yeah. Shut up, kid. Here, take another $1 and go to the movies. No. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about the Darth Maul thing. Again, it's one of those things I didn't know I wanted. Now I do want it. Now that you said that, I got to go look and see if there's any online showings of Maul. I mean,
so here's a goofy question. Do you think, as a result of the Maul show, that they're going to have more of the Force effects lightsabers? Because they haven't had many of them lately.
Oh, you mean the ones like you could just buy at a store?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
and not as fancy as the ones that you can get at Batu,
right?
But the ones still with the the plastic blade, and it's all one unit.
Well, I know the Force effects were actually approvable. Some of them were approvable in the costuming groups.
Really?
Not for combat. I know, like in the 501st, I don't know what it is now, but for the longest time, if you were a Vader, you were not allowed to lightsaber battle people while you're in costume. Like that, Lucasfilm just said, "Can you just make sure your Vader doesn't?" Because they weren't sure what lightsabers they had, and they didn't want someone using one and it break, or someone hit. Vader can't see very well, so you swing that sucker back, and there's a little kid standing next to you.
Gotcha. Good point.
But a lot of those were you could use them with minimal or no changing in the costuming groups. Those FX sabers. And I think they're considered better than the ones at Batu because of the size.
The jingling in the background is Nugget batting around one of her toys in the living room. And she also has a bell on her collar, so she's double jingle. I didn't realize that sound was picking up. I apologize.
My dog just comes down and watches me play Fortnite once in a while.
I'm surprised that she hasn't crawled up my legs yet to get onto my shoulders.
Yeah, but I think the Batu sabers are a little large for the accuracy.
Yeah, the hilt of them is almost like a mag light flashlight.
Well, I think they're made so kids can hold them better. Like if they're really skinny, the kids might break them. But and also for that whole, the whole thing when you build one, you have to put it in the special Jedi machine.
Yeah, and it had that nice rechargeable battery built in and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
I think they have the rechargeable. No, those don't. Not all of them do. Some of the newer ones, I think.
yeah, I don't know if mine is or not. I don't know. I got 2. I should have just got one like Darth Maul one. I could never swing it. I tried swinging a Darth Maul one like his. That's way harder than you think. Like it's not like spinning a pole. What is it? A bow staff, because the bow staff you can tuck in your arm when you spin it, but you can't tuck a lightsaber and you cut your arm off.
Yeah.
Well,
you can do it once.
Yeah, you can do it once. Right. But yeah, I mean, every time something comes out, it's so probably like the Dark Empire will have with this. They might have a bunch of people. Like I was thinking when the Acolyte came out, the Dark Empire might get more people because the Dark Empire does the custom Sith and stuff like that.
Okay.
But we'll see. I'm excited for it. I just, now that you have it in my head, now I got to make sure it's not coming into the theaters, and if it is, I got to find out when I can go.
Yeah, and I got to figure out. I'm gonna guess. Not guess. I'm gonna hope that for Mandalorian and Grogu that there's a bunch of troop possibilities.
Oh yeah, they'll definitely be troop,
especially for the mercs.
Yeah, the mercs of
it's our time to shine.
Yeah, the mercs definitely have a lot of troops.
Got to get out there with a Mr. Todd in costume.
Yeah. It's anyone into costuming groups. I would recommend if you're into 501st, Rebel Legion, Mando Mercs, Saber Guild, Droid Builders. If you can troop a movie premiere, they're just a lot of fun. So
I want to get a picture of me behind the counter serving popcorn.
Yeah, I did that with Safi when she was 000. I have one of her back with the popcorn.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. We went to a little theater in Hershey called the Allen Theater. It's an old-timey movie theater. It has those sloping floors. It looks like El Capitan, just smaller.
Okay.
Like that type of theater. And that was so neat to see the movie theater in there. But we had to change. She had to change in it was right next door to they were restoring an old bowling alley. And since she needs so much room to change, we changed in there. It was like 30 degrees. So it was like, it was pretty bad. So, I mean, we had more changing than you and I had at that last troop. We just changed we just traumatized those play. We're just changing right here, buddy.
Well, one of the things I've started to do, I don't know if you noticed this, but I'm going to say it out loud, is I've started going to troops wearing the pants of my flight suit.
Nice.
That way it's one less thing that I have to worry about putting on when I get there.
Yeah. Well, I a lot of times I'll put my Under Armour on underneath.
Okay.
I can't really walk around with stormtrooper legs. That would look a little weird.
Yeah, it's probably harder to drive. Like I could drive in
I drove in my. I wore my Sand Trooper from the chest up and drove in it, and that was not fun. When during COVID, the one movie theater was offering $30. You got a trash bag full of popcorn and 2 movie tickets. They did it once a week. And so one time, Sappy dressed as 000 from the waist up. I dressed as a Sand Trooper, and we pulled up, and the people went nuts for it. So,
yeah, I think it'd be hard for me to do that with my gauntlets on because I would worry about my rocket getting caught on things.
Oh yeah. Well, now you have your new big gauntlets.
Yeah, gotta get some warm weather. I can get some painting on those done.
Yeah, I need a want to buy one of the big greenhouses, like those 10 by 10 greenhouses, and just put it out back. See how warm it gets. So yeah. Well, there's a podcast. We went hour 19.
Nicely done, my friend.
A lot of people. Thank you, everyone. Again, listen to some of our best back episodes right now, or the Shakespeare Star Wars. We have one coming up. I think we have most of the cast filled too.
Yeah, I hope I get a spot. I forgot to put my name on the list.
Yeah. I'll just run the board. I'm still traumatized from doing Leia. So
I think the listeners are still traumatized from
yeah.
you
So if you want to
voicing
hear me
Leia.
do Princess Leia, that's the last episode. But we had a lot of cool people on there. So
Todd drove to Lehigh Valley Comic-Con and everything but the helmet.
yeah, I couldn't drive with my TK helmet on. That would probably be very dangerous. I could probably drive with my Vader helmet. I can see pretty good with the Vader. February 25th, we're recording the next episode. So
be there or be square, as they say.
Yeah, we have some really good. Tim Weber was on. Tim Weber did an awesome job. And Tim has, what was Tim's website? We should have posted that up for here. I think I put it in the show notes for that one, but if he's back on, ask him to promote his website too, because he has some stuff. So
yeah, and this has been a great episode in terms of the number of folks sending us notes and questions and stuff. And just as another heads up, we know February 25th is coming up. Next week, February 7th, is Star Wars Podcast Day. So keep your eyes peeled and ears peeled.
What day of the week is that?
It's a Saturday, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's, yeah.
So I know this show will be putting out an episode. You got the Karita Cast putting out one, Rambling Star Wars Fan, and Bounty Hunting Across the Galaxy, plus about 50 plus other shows out there. So make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff for our shows, and check out some of the other ones too. I mean, I know Bantha Milk is putting out an episode. Yeah, I believe Pod Awakens, Mind the Force, and Fantha Tracks, a bunch of really great shows. So
yeah, man. So I appreciate everyone. So Ken, where can they find you? One last plug before we go.
Every once in a while, you can find me on the Rambling Star Wars Fan. I'll have an episode coming out before Podcast Day and an episode coming out on Podcast Day. Bounty Hunting Across the Galaxy, where I sit down with our buddy Todd and we talk about all sorts of different things related to Star Wars lore. And then every once in a while, I get to sit down with the guys from Bantha Milk Podcast. We call it Around the Dejeric Table, where we answer and ask random questions related to Star Wars. And how about those 16 shows you do?
Find me here, helping Zoe out with Star Wars Geek Girl. You can also find me on the 501st Cast, the official podcast of the 501st Legion. Comes out on the 5th of every month. So we just recorded the February episode. I might try to get a hold of some guys and do a special one for Star Wars Podcast Day. We'll see. But besides that, keep watching Star Wars. My last recommendation is, and I'm a Star Wars guy first, but I used to own a comic book store. I'm a big Marvels guy. Wonder Man is good. It's really good. It's hard to describe how good it is because it does move a little slow at first, but I think that's why they released like all the episodes all at once. Check that out. And the Stanley trailer or Stanley documentary on Disney Plus is really good too.
And also in February, for those of you that are interested, the Muppet Show is coming back.
Oh, nice. Where is that on Disney Plus?
It's going to be on Disney Plus. Yep.
Like a new Muppets.
It's a new Muppet Show with classic Muppet characters.
Nice.
So Sweetums and Kermit and Fozzie and the crew.
Cool.
I'm a big old I Star Wars is the main thing. I think a really, really, really close second for me is the Muppets.
Yeah. Well, the Muppets had some really good connections to Lucas too. And the Jim Henson documentary is a really good, sad, happy, and everything in between. So anyway, everyone, thank you very much. And may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
And since Ken said, may the Force be with you, here we go.
Time for
I've been running scams on the street since I was 10. I've been running scams on the street since I was 10.
Hey, Mike, what do you see? A falcon that inflates for free. Hey, Ken, what's the drill? Blue milk sipping gives me a thrill. The inflatable falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray. Left, right, left, we're marching through. Cosplay helmets and a saber or two. Hey, Mike, what's the plan? To nerd out harder than anyone can. The inflatable falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray. So grab your gear and join the crew. Mike and Ken got a show for you. Laughs and stars and a galaxy far. The Falcon's ready, let's raise the bar. Hey! Hey, Mike, what do you see? A falcon that inflates for free. Hey, Ken, what's the drill? Blue milk sipping gives me a thrill. The inflatable falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray. Left, right, left, we're marching through. Cosplay helmets and a saber or two. Hey, Mike, what's the plan? To nerd out harder than anyone can. The inflatable falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray.